So we have discussed about few Kali Linux tools and also some account takeover, JWT, and other some bug reports, right? So today we are going to discuss about insecure object, insecure direct object reference. Okay, IDOR vulnerabilities. So one second. Okay, so what is actually IDOR? IDO stands for Insecure Direct Object Reference. It's a vulnerability occurs when an attacker can access or modify some reference to an object, such as a file, database records, or accounts, etc., which should be actually be inaccessible for them. For example, when we visit this site hackerone.com, once again, let me open the notepad. Okay. For example, when we visit www.hackerone.com/user equal to Nimisha, this is the user details. Okay. However, if you try to visit Nimisha123, another user, okay, and the access were granted, and that would be considered vulnerable to IDOR bug. But this thing, if it is a user profile, it will not considered as an IDO. But if it is the settings page of that particular user, or if it is the configuration page of that user, it will considered as an IDO. Identifying this type of vulnerability range would be easy to hard. The most basic is similar to the example of above, where the ID provided is a simple integer auto incremented as the new record and added as or added to the site. If you are using burp, you can automate this by sending the request to the burp intruder and set a payload on the ID, and then use a numeric list with the start and stop values stepping by one. When running that type of test, look for content length that change significantly different responses being returned. In other words, for example, let me show another thing. Mm, Walnut Hub, not Walnut Hub, it's just PHP Walnut Web. Mm, Categories, posters. Yeah, here you can see the list product question mark cat equal to 1. We got this thing, right? So let me change this to cat equal to 2. We got the second page, right? So when things are more difficult is when a site tries to obscure the references to their object reference using things like randomized identifiers such as a universal unique identifier. In this case, the ID might be a 36 character or alphanumeric string, which is impossible to guess. So one way to work is to create two user profile and switch between these accounts as a testing object. Okay, so if you are trying to access the user profile with the UUUID, create your profile with the user A and another profile with the user B. Try to access this profile using those ID. Okay, so every testing you have to create two accounts. Fine. So in HackerOne there is a similar report. I think in Portugal there is no lab for IDOT. Let me check. Control F IDOR insecure 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 direct yeah, here's an IDOR thing. Okay, I'll show this in the next video. In this video we can explain a HackerOne report right now. Okay. So I think 98247. That's the report ID. Yes, log into any user's cashier account. No, not this one. Mm. Okay, let me check. Yeah, this one. One. Okay. Oops, it's not public yet. Let me check whether the previous one is real. Proper authentication. Yes, this one. This is the thing. So, reported to derive.com, and whether he got any bounty, let me check. Yeah, he got some bounty from that. So, this is really a straightforward vulnerability which doesn't need any explanation. In this situation, a user was able to log into any account and view sensitive information or perform actions on the behalf of the hacked user account, and all that was required was knowing the user's account ID. By knowing the user's account ID, you can read the step to reproduce how to reproduce this. And before the hack, if you logged into the site and inspect the page HTML, you notice that the iframe tag, which include the pin parameter, this one, that parameters was actually the account ID. So next, if you edit the HTML and insert another pin, the site would automatically perform an action on the new account without validating the password or any other credential. In other words, the site would treat you as the owner of the account that you provided. Again, all that was required was knowing someone's account number. Okay, you could even change the event occurring in the iframe to payout, to invoke a payment action to change another account. However, this indicates that all the withdrawals requires manual human review, but that doesn't necessarily mean it would have been caught. So if you are looking for an authentication based vulnerability, be on the lookout for where credentials are being passed to the site. While this vulnerability was caught, by looking at the page source code, you also could have noticed the information being passed when using a proxy interceptor. So if you do find some type of credential based pass, take a note when they do not look encrypted and try to play with them. Okay, in this case, the pin was CR342435, right? So while looking, the password was, this is the password. Oops, sorry, my system. Yeah, this is the password, and unencrypted values represent a nice area to start playing with. So I hope you understood the concept of IDOR. Okay, so and there are so many examples here. I think there is something in the Twitter API. Let me check. The number is 95552. Let me check. Yes, yeah, this thing also an IDOR. Its Twitter's mockup application was vulnerable to an IDOR bug which allowed an attacker to steal API key and ultimately take over the victim's account. So please go through this report also. Okay. So in the next video, we will discuss about this thing, insecure direct object reference. Fine. Thank you. Have a nice day.